In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. So right there, the very first verse of the very first chapter of the very first book in the entire Bible begins with the very statement that the universe had a beginning. Now, if that verse is true, then everything else that follows in this book is at least possible. That's why the cosmological argument is one of the best arguments for the existence of God. Cosmology comes from the Greek word cosmos, meaning world or universe. So the cosmological argument is the argument that the universe had a beginning. And if the universe had a beginning, then it must have had a cause, right? The logical format of the argument goes like this. 1. Everything that had a beginning had a cause. 2. The universe had a beginning. 3. Therefore, the universe has a cause. So if everything that had a beginning had a cause, and the universe had a beginning, then the universe must have had a cause. Centuries ago, scientists and scholars would debate on whether or not the universe even had a beginning. Many scientists thought that the universe was eternal. Well, since then, there have been multiple scientific discoveries that are used as evidence to show that the universe indeed had a beginning. The second law of thermodynamics, the expansion of the universe, the radiation from the Big Bang, Einstein's theory of general relativity, and so on. Now, I don't have time to cover all of those, but here we see evidence that points towards a beginning of the universe. And that beginning of the universe is what most scientists now call the Big Bang Theory. I'm sure you guys have heard of that one. Now, no matter what worldview you hold, it's widely agreed, at least for the most part, that the universe had a beginning. So atheists and Christians alike, we agree the universe had a beginning. Now, in light of that evidence, we're only left with two options here. Either no one created something out of nothing, or someone created something out of nothing. Now, which view is more reasonable? Now, I'd like to think that it's more reasonable to believe that the beginning of the universe was caused by something or someone rather than nothing. Now, some skeptics may confront you and ask, okay, well, if God created the universe, then who created God? It seems like a fair question, right? Let's see what Dr. Frank Turek has to say about this question.
Oh yeah, you get that question all the time. Well, the answer to the who made God question is nobody, because nobody made God. God is the uncaused first cause. He is what Aristotle would call the unmoved mover. And this isn't special pleading on our part. We're not just saying, well, we don't need a cause, but the universe needs a cause, or God doesn't need a cause, but the universe needs a cause. We're saying the evidence points to the fact that the universe had a beginning. There's only two possibilities. Either the universe is the uncaused first cause, or something outside the universe is the uncaused first cause. All the evidence shows that the universe had a beginning. If the universe had a beginning, if space, matter, and time had a beginning, then the cause can't be made of space, matter, and time. In other words, the cause must be spaceless, timeless, and immaterial. Now, if you're timeless, do you have a beginning? No, God is the uncaused first cause. You know, it's interesting too, Hank, that for many centuries, atheists had no problem believing in an eternal universe. They thought the universe was eternal. Never had a problem questioning that. Now we come along and say, no. There's something eternal, but it's not the universe, it's God. And they go, oh, you can't have an eternal God. Wait a minute. If you can have an eternal universe, why can't there be an eternal God? Especially if this being's outside of time. He didn't have a beginning, he created time. And I like what my friend John Lennox says. He says, look, there's two ultimate worldviews at the end of the day. Either matter gave rise to mind, or mind gave rise to matter. That's it. When you get down to it, you boil them all down. And we know that matter's not eternal. Matter had a beginning. If matter had a beginning, it can't be the first cause. Mind is the first cause. And that comports well with, of course, John, the first chapter, that in the beginning was the Word, the mind, the logos, the reason. That's really where the universe came from. It came from a mind and is sustained as we speak by a mind.
So there you have it, guys. The universe had a beginning. And because the universe is made up of space, time, and matter, then that created space, time, and matter has to be spaceless, timeless, and immaterial. Let's go back to Genesis 1:1. We see that in the beginning, time, God created the heavens, space, and the earth, matter. So there we see it right there in the very first verse. Space, time, and matter coming into existence all in the same time. In other words, the Big Bang. But it had to have come from something. Now, I love this quote in the book God and the Astronomers. For the scientist who has lived by his faith and the power of reason, the story ends like a bad dream. He has scaled the mountains of ignorance. He is about to conquer the highest peak. As he pulls himself over the final rock, he is greeted by a band of theologians who have been sitting there for centuries. So you see, a lot of people try to make it seem like faith and science are completely separate. There is no room for faith in science, but I think that it's quite opposite actually. That science actually supports faith. Now, faith is a different topic in and of itself, but my point is that we as Christians shouldn't fear science. Science actually helps prove our point. Well, there you have it, guys. That was the cosmological argument.